Like we were driving years ago, we were on vacation.
It's not on consent.
I didn't know you wanted to consent that. Alright.
Hey, but it did get quite tense. I've been over
We won't be here, but you can certainly talk about it.
Yeah, but did you get the message from Market to put on consent? It's fine, we'll, it's good.
I just
It's on there,
put it
so.
on the agenda.
Sorry. No, it's okay. That's fine.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
In the Black Hills. So he won't.
Okay.
Good, how are you? I never know which one is on. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Tom, Kurt.
Long time no talk?
I know.
Tom, make sure you get your mic, Tom, make sure you get your mic closer.
You have to be, you can't whisper, you have to use your big boy voice.
I do. I expect you to do all the talking today.
Come on, preacher.
Sometimes it's good to be hard of hearing.
What was that?
Believe me, you don't. Okay.
All right.
Okay, 4:30. You ready? Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order here. I'd like to begin by standing for a moment of silence, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have a roll call, please.
Pete Hamill. Ken Snyder.
Here.
Brad Hint.
Here.
Tom Eggers.
Here.
Wayne Barahona.
Here.
All right, then you have the agenda. There was a late change, and there was confusion on where it was going to appear. It's actually item 7H under new business. No, 6H, excuse me, 6H. Under new business, it's not on the consent, as we had, some of you probably had heard earlier. So with that change, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hint. Barahona.
Aye.
All right, we now move into the public forum session of our meeting. Is there anyone here that would like to address the council at this time? Seeing no one taking action, we'll move on. Moving on then to the consent agenda. Take approval for that.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hint. Aye. Barahona.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Okay. We have no old business, so we'll move on to item 6A. Open the public hearing for the proposed Jenkinson 3rd edition on East 9th Street. I'd like to open the public hearing at this time. If there are any comments for that, please step forward to the mic. Again, seeing no activity, taking the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hint. Barahona.
Aye.
Okay, and then we have the resolution of approval of the preliminary and final plat. We'll need a motion to approve that then.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Kent. Aye. Snyder.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Item 6B is discussion on a budget amendment, and I'd like to open the public hearing for that. Are there any comments on the changes made to the budget as noted in the amendments? Again, no activity, so a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Kent. Aye. Farahona.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
All right, then we need approval of the amendment. Motion for that.
So moved.
Support.
Any comments either Angie or Sam would like to make?
No.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council? Roll call, please.
Kent. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Everyone keeping up? Moving right along here. All right, then we move on to the second reading of the ordinance amending the sewer rates effective July 1, 2022. First reading was held 2 weeks ago. We are now into our second one. Any comments?
We haven't received any new comments since the last meeting, and I would ask if you're inclined to approve second reading and waive third.
I move that we approve, or do the thing that you said.
Support.
Was that
Whatever he
support?
said.
Any discussion or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Farahona.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Kent. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Okay, item D is the first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances by amending provisions pertaining to the fire department. Any comments on that, Sam?
I do not.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Brad?
Nope.
Okay. There are no comments, then I'll take a motion to approve the first reading and move it on to second.
I'll move it to first read, or make the motion to approve first reading, move it to second.
We have support for that.
Support.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Farahona.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Kent. Aye. Eggers.
Aye.
Item E, a first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances by amending the Airport Commission chapter. Any explanation necessary there?
If I might?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So due to the events of last week, I didn't write a full explanation like I usually would have. I do check out the minutes on the May 10 Airport Commission. You can get a little bit more of a feel for what's taken place. Let me scroll back down to this. I lost my place. So the original Airport Commission ordinance dates back to 1998. This particular ordinance is part of the overall code of ordinances that we have needed to update. Brought this item and the previous item, the fire EMA ordinances, separately because I felt that it was important to move on those sooner rather than later. What 26.01 does is it emphasizes the economic development focus of the airport and the Airport Commission. The Airport Commission, or the airport, has been in urban renewal zone for 27, 28 years. Urban renewal funds have not typically been used for the airport in the past, and the justification for using urban renewal funds for the airport is, or part of the justification is, an economic development focus, in addition to remediation of blight, for example, the issues with the runway. 26.02, we discovered, Angie and I discovered an interesting issue, is that the terms of office For as long as anybody here can remember, the terms of office have been 5 years, but the ordinance has always said 3. So this leaves them at 3-year terms. Does not create an issue for, it does not create an issue for those who have served 5-year terms, because Iowa code says you serve until you're appointed or replaced. Let me circle back to 26.01 real quick, and then I'll finish up, is that this formalizes the appointment of an elected official to the Airport Commission, which is allowable, and it's already been done on an interim basis, but this codifies it going forward. This has been reviewed by the Airport Commission. They've recommended approval. You can approve first reading and send it on to second if you'd like, or you could approve first reading and waive second and third. It's up to you.
So is that council member or city official, is that one of the 5, or does it then become 6?
Be one of the 6. So
Okay.
you could be appointed to it too
Oh, okay.
if you wanted to be.
Okay. All right.
I'd make a motion and with the waiving of second and third, based upon the full consent and support of the Airport Commission behind this. So I'll make that motion.
Do we have support for that?
Was it support?
And is that correct? The Airport Commission is in full support. There's no issue having a second reading?
No, it was on 2 different
Okay.
agendas. So.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? And we'll have a roll call, please.
Strahan? Aye. Eggers?
Aye.
Farahona?
Aye.
Snyder?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item F, an update on the collection system improvements. Is that you, Todd?
Sure.
Okay.
So that is the 2 lift station projects, the one in the, on Thorman Avenue and then the one out on NCC's property. Essentially what you have is a project that was scheduled to be substantially complete by June 1. They are experiencing material delays. The worst of those is things that are control-based from Rockwell that integrate with our SCADA system. It's not my desire, the engineers, or the control provider's desire to substitute those. It would cause some patching and networking issues, and it's just not our desire. Anyways, the delays are getting lengthy. At one point, I thought they were going to get the equipment in May. Now they're talking July. So essentially what we have in front of you is, we were going to bring a formal change order that said we need to extend the completion date from June 1 to a date later. I don't really want to do that because I'm afraid we'll just be approving another change order again later that goes to a new date. So what I'm asking you to do today is essentially agree that you're not going to charge liquidated damages based on not making substantial completion of June 1. Once the contractors get all of the materials on site, we will then agree upon a length of time to finish the work and then do an official change order to hold them accountable for completing the work once they have the products. My gut says is you're going to be looking at a date of September, October, something like that, completion. It doesn't really hurt us. The 2 lift stations that we're redoing are replacing 2 lift stations that are currently still functioning. So we'll be okay unless, of course, it does extend the opportunity to have failures that we could have to spend money on. But in my opinion, it's to no fault of the 3 contractors that submitted letters. So I'll stand for questions.
Todd, it's been my experience with similar issues of this nature in the business I'm in, that there's 2 sides to that coin. There's the supply side, but there's also situations where the supplier has also increased the cost for the component and still deliver late. Are we seeing any of the cost implications of that?
So I asked, on a conference call a couple weeks ago, I asked all 3 contractors if they were asking for time only or time and money. And the answer I got was time only, and if you look in their letters, They all three state that they're anticipating time only, no cost increase to the contract.
So if we take action on this today, can we, can we be assured that cost won't come up later?
Well, any costing, no. Any cost increase that they would want would have to be via a change order. I mean, so you would have an opportunity to act on that.
Okay. Having the letters, I read them and I do understand that, so I just wanted to know how solid you felt the letters were, so.
I believe it is their intent to not upcharge us. Now, if they get upcharged on their end at a later date, I assume that could change their opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Right. Do you want a formal approval on this? I mean, it's just an update, but do you want us to approve it as a motion?
Well,
We certainly can, I just
I
want to
don't know what your thoughts are, Sam.
I think just a motion to acknowledge the update, and I don't know that there's a real way to make a true motion without having it be too open-ended, so I think just to acknowledge that there's been an update is sufficient. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. You know, the contractors are just really looking for some assurances that we're not going to come after them and start counting LDs of $780 a day starting on June 1.
I just hope they take that into consideration in case the cost goes up, that we're not charging them.
Yeah.
For that, that's a counter to that. That's my point.
Yep, very fair point.
Can I ask, they haven't guaranteed a price increase, and, you know, we agree that what's to limit them? You know, they can just come back and say, hey, we have this, and
So the contract would limit them. They're under contract for a certain dollar amount. So if they want or feel like they need extra money for the job, you as a council will have final say on whether or not you're going to award those extra dollars.
okay.
If I may.
Yes.
But, you know what, let's, on second thought, Todd, let's just take no action. We'll put it in the minutes that we had the discussion, and that way it can't be interpreted later as that an acknowledgement was some sort of approval. Or am I being too careful?
No, I think that's fine. I think I could say to the contractors and acknowledge, if you agree, that the consensus is we wouldn't be charging LDs. We'll agree to a completion date once things are on site, and then you know, an official change order will come at that point. And ultimately would be their protection, right? Because we'll extend the completion date at some point. That acceptable, everybody? I'm not putting words in your mouth. Do you agree to?
Yes.
Yes.
Not much we can do when we don't have product, no.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I'm all for, you know, going after liquidated damages when it's appropriate. I don't believe it's appropriate in this scenario.
I would agree.
And we have done that in the past on the project.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm fine, you understand my point, so.
I do.
So do you have the information you need for, okay. All right, let's move on to, then to item G, a resolution approving new minimum assessment for 711 11th Street. Any comments on that, Sam?
Yes, and while I am talking about this item, if all of you could scroll all the way to the top on your iPads and then hit the little arrow to the right of the browser so that it refreshes, that way item H will show up. Otherwise, the next item on impressions probably won't show up on your iPads. You need to refresh. Anyway, on 711 11th Street, this has been considered by the Board of Adjustment several times and by the City Council. This would be the second time. The Board of Adjustment has approved some changes to the original request, and it would to allow the use of the property as a storage facility. And I should clarify, and it should be in the minutes, it would only be by the owners. They would not be using it for commercial storage rental. The minimum assessment, they're asking for a delay to August August of 2029, so it's a 2-year delay. So the Board of Adjustment does recommend that you approve that. And Corey Algersma and Bailey Francis they're hoping to close very soon on the property. They weren't unable to be here today. I do not have a new minimum assessment, but you see the original minimum assessment agreement, and it would simply be a change by 2 years. So just asking for you to support that if you're inclined. It is the unanimous recommendation of the Board of Adjustment to allow that. There is a concession that the buyers are making too, that it would not be used for residential use at all. So basically the use would over the next several years, but they would plan on having a house installed, but they are asking for a 2-year extension for that.
So they're going to keep the current garage that's on there and then maintain the property until such time as a house is moved on, and then they'll be using it for living quarters?
No, they won't be using the garage for living quarters ever.
No, I mean the house
The
that
house,
would be moved on.
right.
Yes.
Right.
Why the extra 2 years?
You know, it's something that they asked for because of the delay. I mean, it was just last August that was, or September 1, that was originally approved. The city did make some concessions at that time too. Originally, we know we'd asked for a larger minimum assessment, settled on $75,000. You know, this has been a difficult property to sell, and it's been a difficult situation involving 2 owners. So a previous owner had built the shed, and then the new and passed away. New owner, I'm not sure of exact order of things, but the new owner tore down the house, which was apparently terrible looking, and definitely looks better than it did before, but it had been using the shed as living quarters, which was a zoning violation. So it's been a gentle approach to try not to upset the property owner, but it is an issue that needs to be in compliance. Concerns have been raised from the neighbors about having wouldn't say multiple people, but it has been raised to me that it's not appropriate to have a shed with a living quarters in a residential neighborhood. So we wanted to bring that to an end at some point, and this does move the ball forward.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion? No. Okay, so then we need a motion approving that resolution.
And they can go to the 29? I mean, this is approved till 29?
What this does is it delays the current minimum assessment agreement that's been recorded. That starts the additional $75,000 in 2027. It moves that back 2 years, gives them 2 more years.
Okay.
So you said additional $75,000.
No, I didn't. Okay. Go ahead with your question.
Well, so they'd still be responsible for whatever the assessment is now.
Right, it's just a 2-year additional time frame. So
So-
the $75,000 stays in place, but instead of 2027, August, it's 2029 for the first payment, I think, in 2030. So,
Looks like it's currently, I guess I can't scroll.
and the way Micah wrote the assessment is at $75,000 of additional valuation.
So yeah, currently $15,000 right now as it stands on the books.
Oh, and I would anticipate with the sales price likely being much higher than 15,000, that
Not that-
it's going to go up anyway.
Sure.
And then you'd have 75,000 on top of that.
So it's delayed
Oh, yeah.
by 8 months, and they want 24 months delayed.
Right now, the
Extra.
assessed value is $39,000.
It's your call.
Doesn't
Oh,
make sense to me.
51,730.
Well,
And how do we have the control of what they can move into there if they move in a house? What kind
Well-
of control is there over that?
right.
Yes.
So, they could move in a new, I think they could move in like a Vandenberg home, right? As long as it met the setbacks, and they would just have to have the $5 moving permit. But if they wanted to bring in an older home, it would have to go to the Board of Adjustment under the relocated residential section of our code. So the way to look at it is this, and I would ask if you're inclined to vote against it, consider instead just continuing it for 2 weeks so that Elgersman's, so Corey can be here. But I added it in a hurry to try to help out the closing. The way to look at it with what he said at the Board of Adjustment, and I'm summarizing what he said, is that if we stick with the owner that we have now, it isn't going to change. But this new owner has committed publicly to put a home there. And they're just concerned about the interest rates and financing and finding availability, and they just have asked for more time to give them peace of mind. So it will still move faster than what it's moving now.
According to Beacon, current valuation is $51,730 for the 2022 tax year. So sale price, like you said, will probably increase that, but then we add $75,000 on top of that.
Right. And then if they build a home, it would almost be certainly worth more than $75,000.
Right.
Or move one in.
Right. I think what we're trying to wrestle through here is that we're all looking for a solution to this property. And we've known the history and the challenges to date on this. And now we've got a new opportunity, so I think we're all trying to figure out whether this is Mr. Right or if this is Mr. Right now, you know? And so if we were to approve it as with the hope that it's Mr. Right, how do we understand that it's Mr. Right and not just the best thing that we got right now?
Well, obviously, we're handcuffed by the idea that a house has to be brought in or built on the property. Going from strictly an assessment standpoint, in that 4-parcel block, 2 of the parcels are valued lower than the current parcel that has only the garage on it. So we know that adding a house there will increase that value significantly. And yeah, again, it's a tough situation because of where this property was left at. If it is, I'm going to trust that the Board of Adjustment has done their due diligence in hearing the testimony and the statements, and I'm inclined to go with their recommendation.
I am too, but I just think that's what we're all thinking. Is this okay? Is this the solution? And can we have assurances, you know?
Why does it take them so long?
Am I?
Yes.
Why are you going so far out with it?
I think it's what Wayne just said. A lot of the factors that you just said. You know, it's quite, when I went to look at the site with Terry Broxma, and you know, one of the things that that Corey mentioned was if he could sell it as a shed, he could sell it 5 times by sunset, because there's that much demand. But you know, the options become much more limited when you're asking for somebody to put a house. So we have found somebody that's willing to comply with the code. It's been for sale since August of last year, actually, before. There haven't been any other people that have lined up to do this that I'm aware of, and you have somebody. So I think because of the lapse of time, this makes sense. Todd, you were going to say something.
You hit on what I was gonna say, is that I can't go buy that property as a shed. That's not legal, that's a zoning violation. So somebody, one of the adjoining property owners could, but then what you'll end up with is exactly what you have today for the rest of time. You'll end up with a shed, yard. To me, that's why this is a win. As an extension is the fact you get home. Or at
Or
least
tax.
the assess, or the
You're
taxes.
gonna get at least 75,000 more in taxes.
Right.
That's the incentive to build.
You wouldn't get 75,000 in taxes, you get the assessed value of tax on the
But that's the
assessed.
incentive to build.
Right, correct.
Otherwise, you're paying for nothing.
Otherwise, you're paying for an empty
Yep,
lot,
yep.
Right.
Mhm.
$150,000 house, basically, lot. Yeah.
I move we accept the resolution.
Second.
Further discussion? Then we'll have a roll call, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hen.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
All right, then item H is the last item that was just added. A resolution approving a minimum assessment agreement with Impressions Property. Comments from you on that at all, Kurt?
Yeah, I'm just going to mention that Impressions is buying a lot out in Sheldon Crossing, and as part of the development deal, they have agreed to a $125,000 minimum assessment agreement. So we'd like to get that approved, so we can get it recorded at the counter at the O'Brien County Recorder's Office prior to closing, so the bank can hold the lot as collateral on the construction note. So that's why we added that to the agenda here today.
Make motion to approve.
You said 125,000?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought you said.
I support that.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Farahona.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hen.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
All right. We are now into the report section of our meeting, starting with Sam.
Thank you, Mayor. So usually I don't say anything in this portion of the agenda, but today I'm going to. I've been asked a lot about this, and I thought you'd like to have a brief summary, and it reduces the number of times that I need to tell the story. Last Thursday at 2:30 p.m. I had a meeting in the clerk's office conference room with Tom Foose and Larry Smith to discuss our workers' comp renewal, which, by the way, is very good. 10 minutes into our meeting or so, the electricity went down at City Hall briefly. A few minutes after that, Angie stepped in to tell me the fire department had been called to my home. My daughter Abby was sleeping in the basement. She had worked the night shift at Sanford, been off at 5 that morning. Ada, my 2-year-old granddaughter, was sleeping also. Jennifer was in the kitchen and preparing for the arrival of my in-laws from Spearfish, who were coming into town for Abby's NCC graduation the next day. My father, from Hull, had called Jennifer at 2:39 p.m. as he had forgotten the time of the graduation the next day. By the way, he doesn't forget anything. Jennifer stopped washing dishes to dry off her hands and take the call. A moment later, a power line came down, and the power of a transmission line, at least 8,000 volts. You think in terms of 110, 220, and I Googled an electric chair, and it's less than 2,000 volts. At least 8,000 volts and probably much more backfed into our home and 2 other homes at the intersection of Pleasant Court and Washington Ave. My father's phone call likely saved Jennifer's life, and Jennifer's quick action definitely saved Abby and Ada. If you stand in my kitchen and look at the ceiling, you can see all the steel nails in the ceiling covered with soot. They were energized and magnetized by the voltage. It was that powerful. Our family has a Bichon Shih Tzu mix named Ipsy and a three-legged golden retriever named Tilly. They are the odd couple, but they are very special to our family, and I love taking them out for their runs. I work a lot, and I enjoy having that time with them. Ipsy ran out of the house with Jennifer, and Brad Hint, our assistant fire chief, asked where Tilly was. He knew Tilly. Jennifer said Tilly was with her, and Brad said, "Are you sure?" He didn't see the dog. Tilly was born without a left front paw and loves to run, but instead of running outside, she got scared and ran upstairs. Brad coaxed her out by asking her if she wanted to go on a run because she knows that word. Brad, thank you for saving our golden retriever. I want to say thank you to our emergency services. All 4 departments were at our home that afternoon, and it was surreal to me. Thank you to the Sheldon Fire Department for their quick action to save our home. I want to thank Sheldon EMA and the Police Department for their work to protect others from the downed power line. I want to thank our ambulance team in Sanford Sheldon for their compassionate and professional assistance to my daughter Abby, who was treated for smoke inhalation and released. I want to thank Al and Evie Katz for opening up their home. Evie was home during the fire and walked across and gave Jennifer a hug and a key. I want to thank the countless people who have helped us in finding a more permanent place to live, which we have, and dealing with the beginning of a very long process. The insurance adjuster described it as eating an entire elephant, including the tusk. However, I must remember that no one was hurt, seriously, and stuff can be replaced. But my daughter Abby has been severely traumatized, but she lost absolutely everything that she owns, and you wouldn't believe how much stuff, how many clothes she had. I had included several paragraphs about the need to bury electrical utilities in Sheldon, but I have decided not to get into that today. It is a balancing act since buried utilities can also be a problem. Backhoes and sharing space with fiber, etc., but it is worth asking Mid-American to revisit it with hundreds of people being affected by frequent outages. I have been quite distracted by the events of the past week, and I thank you for your patience. You have all asked me, previously advised me to slow down, and this has forced me to refocus, and I thank you for your support. Today is also the first time in 4 years with you that I haven't worn a suit jacket to a council meeting, and it feels pretty good, and they're all being cleaned. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Sam. All right, moving on. Todd, anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, follow that up.
Yeah. No. Just say this, Rainbow Drive construction project started Monday. They started with storm sewer at the intersection of Rainbow Drive and Washington Avenue. They'll be working on that portion for a couple weeks, and then I anticipate they'll be starting doing pavement. Next week, Tuesday, the 24th at 5:30, we'll be holding a public meeting for the downtown reconstruction. Letters have went out to the downtown business owners, inviting them to come. We hope to give them an idea of what's going to happen. We hope to collect some emails, phone numbers, that kind of sort of thing, so we can get them signed up for the same text service that we're utilizing in the Rainbow Drive job. So just wanted to make that out as well. So Tuesday, the 24th at 5:30 p.m. here in the community. That's all I have.
Very good. Thanks. Kurt, anything else from you? Thank you, Mayor. Chief Birch? Ange? Anything you like?
No, but did you reserve a room for that day? You just wanted to make sure that we don't have something, okay. That's all I had. Okay.
Good keep you on your toes.
Downstairs or in your office.
Anything from my council to the left, council members to the left?
Any help Sam needs, I think we'd be more than willing to, in destruction or construction or whatever. Thank you. Move it around.
Councilman to my right, anything from you?
Scat supper tonight. Get your chicken from 5 to 7.
I don't think it's chicken.
Is it not chicken anymore?
No. Taco in a bag
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
tavern, I think.
Old habits die hard.
Brownies and cookies.
Yeah, at the pavilion.
Tom, anything else?
No, I just want to say, and I've mentioned this over my tenure here, is that when things like Sam outlined happens in a small town shows up. So, very proud of Sheldon, very proud of all of the emergency groups and for the citizens for pitching in and helping, whether it's Sam or anybody else. So, thank you.
And just a little follow-up on that as well. I have authorized Sam, if he needs extra time, to take it as needed, just so your council's aware of that.
Well, good luck with that.
What's that?
Yeah.
Actually making him take it.
I think
Yeah.
he banked a couple
Yeah.
hours anyway, I think.
So, but Sam has commented to me that the support he's received since this happened has solidified in his mind that this is where he needs to be, where he's supposed to be. And I couldn't agree more. Thank you. So,
And we're glad he's grubby like the rest of us.
there you go. So, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
And roll call, please.
Snyder?
Aye.
Hens?
Aye.
Eggers?
Aye.
Farahona?
All right.